Hello and welcome to a special episode of Right to Dream FC. In this episode, we're going to go 1 year, 5 years into the future to see if we have left a legacy behind us. Let's get into it. So we're going to have a quick look at the transfers 12 months on that we have left the club, and 5 signings have been made by the new manager. Who is the new manager actually? Let's have a look. Can we find out who it is? Michael Beale, taking all of my glory. I mean, they've stuck with another English manager, which is kind of nice to see. Was at Rangers before joining FC Northland. Now what a proposition it would have been joining previous Champions League winning team. Is he as good as us? I don't think so. But anyway, 5 transfers have come in. Rodrigo Villagra, Argentinian centre defensive midfielder from Arsenal on loan. He's only played 5 games for them in the Superliga, hasn't played at all in the Champions League. If they're paying 73,000 of that, that's a bad deal. They are paying all of his wages. That's a bit of a poor signing. We would never have made such a bad signing as this. Also, looking at the sticking with the South American, Facundo Palacios, 22-year-old. He's a regen player here, defensive midfielder. He's played 2 games in the Champions League for them, 15 games in the league, 4 assists. He seems alright. How much do they pay for him? I mean, 6 million. Going up to 7.5 million. He looks fine. Again, not a player I would have bought, but it's not our team anymore. Although 10 to 11.5 million for Mohamed Dawi. They have stuck with our buying African players. 26-year-old Tunisian. Has he played well for him this season? In the Sidebank Poland, he's got 2 goals. 2 goals in the Superliga. I mean, with the team that we did leave them, a player like this isn't gonna... It's not going to walk into the team. Looks like he's mainly a winger as well, which we didn't play, which would assume that they've made a change in their formation going forward. Thiago Sá, $500,000 spent from Sporting CP. Portuguese goalkeeper. Did he even play? Didn't play a single game, so yeah, a bit weird that is. And Odinaka Okafor, this is a player that I agreed to sign before we left. He's finally come in. Hasn't played at all. He's gone on loan to Pau in League 2. Yeah, very underwhelming, but there are £76 million worth of transfers leaving the club. Let's see who they're at the outs. There's some big name players here that have gone for very little fee, so I'm not sure what Michael Beale has done with our club. First of all, I can see Adamo Nagalo has gone out on loan to Shanghai Port. Why? He's a very good squad player. I might just be me being salty in seeing the outs here. For the team that I have bought has kind of been torn apart from what I can see already, but Adama Nagalo, he went out on loan. Not fantastic, not really what you want to see, but that has happened. Also, Namdi Collins, we brought him in last season for 1.3 million we spent on him, 1.8 million. He's gone out straight away for 1 million to Eibar in La Liga. I mean, he definitely could have done a job. Valued at 4.7 to 14 million. I mean, it's another poor decision to get rid of him. And I can see 3 players here which are going to make me a little bit sad. Emmanuel Omega, 1.7 million they sold him for to Al Aln. I mean, 13 goals in 26 in the Saudi Arabian League, well, UAE. I mean, it was fantastic for FC Northland. He was a bit part player towards the end of last season. But 1.7 million selling him for, that's a terrible bit of business. Solomon Saki has gone for 4, rising to 5 million. And he's now Italian nationality. That's a very unusual one. Obviously, Ghanaian, when we did buy him, he has at least gone to FC Copenhagen, so he's going to strengthen the Danish league up. Looking at him in the 3F Superliga, he's played 24 games, 3 goals, 1 assist. Bit unsure why they would have got rid of him for so cheap. To be fair, his value hasn't hasn't stuck around, but three big players that have left as well. Michel Endar, our future centre-back, if we would have stayed. I mean, I think, should they get rid of him for 10 million, rising to 13.5? I wouldn't have sold him for that little. 6'2", 15 tackling, 15 technique, 18 positioning, 16 teamwork, 17 balance, 15 jumping. He was a very good prospect, and Al Shabab have got a fantastic centre-back on their hands there. 10 million is a little cheap, but El Shaarawy has gone for 16.5 million to 21 million. He's valued at 41 to 124 million. Absolute craziness. He's played 14 times for Borussia Dortmund for 16 million. Crazy signing. And the one that hurts the most, Youssoufa Moukoko, 43.5 million, rising to 60 million. This guy was an absolute god for us. Valued at 70 million to 209 million. Could have done better than that. Overall, it's a very poor transfer decision, especially the fact that they've sold £76 million worth of players. They've only spent 17 million. There's not been a lot of talent that has come in from what I've seen, but let's see how they've gotten in the league, and more importantly, how they've gotten in the Champions League. So looking at the 3F Superliga, FC Nordsjælland have continued our tradition of winning straight Superligas now. Played 32, won 19, drawn 7, they lost 6. I don't think we lost 6 games for the last 3 seasons. Scored 49 goals, conceded 21, a goal difference of plus 28, 64 points. They only won it on goal difference, which it's a little shocking to see, but let's see how they got on in the Cup and in the Champions League. So looking at the Sidebank Pokerland, again, Nordsjælland have won. They beat Copenhagen 3-2 in extra time, I think, looking at this. Ado Blessing, Firi and Dow getting off the mark. Saki and Giller scoring for FC Copenhagen, so they have completed the domestic double again, which is very nice to see. Ado Blessing with 5 goals in the league. Looking at him, he's a very good player. I want to see Asbjørn Jorgensen before we move on as well. But, 7 goals in the Superliga, 5 in the Pokerland tournament. It's not fantastic, but, at least they've completed the domestic double. We're going to have a look at the Champions League now, and then have a look at the squad and how they're doing. So now, looking at the Champions League, in the group stage, they played 8, won 3, drew 2, and won 3. Can we see who they won against? Well, they beat Shakhtar 3-0 at home, they beat Chelsea 2-0 at home, and they beat Lech Poznan 2-1 away from home. As you can see, FC Copenhagen are just below us as well, so clearly they've done quite well in the Champions League as well. It's good to see the Danish league improving as we go along. We drew 2, one was to Athletic Bilbao, 2-2, and then Sporting CP, we drew 1-1 with them. Our losses came to Porto away, 2-1 loss, a 2-0 loss to Liverpool, and we lost 3-2 at home to Manchester United. Looking at that, it's not too bad. I was kind of worried that they might drop off a cliff, but for the league phase, they managed to do quite well there, which meant they went into the knockout round. And how did they get on? They lost on aggregate to Arsenal 5-1. It's not great to see. Looks like Liverpool won the Champions League in this season. So overall, 12 months later, it's not been the best for FC Nordsjælland in Europe. But let's have a look at the team. So looking at tactically, they've clearly moved away from our right to dream formation. They've gone for a 4-1-2-2-1. Fair enough. Obviously with the big sales of Moukoko, Ado Blessing has taken up the mantle up front there. Goalkeeper wise, it looks like Marwan Salah finally left, which is sad news to see. And David Abubakar has played a lot of games for him in the league. To be fair, he came through our youth academy. 19-year-old Ghanaian, has played 16 games in the Superliga, conceded 11, but 7 clean sheets, so not too bad, a 6.98 rating. It's good to see one of our youth players coming through. Noah Atubolu didn't even play at all. They might as well have sold him. He hasn't played a single game. He got us to the Champions League final. But Noah Atubolu, he's playing second fiddle to David Abubakar. But it's not a bad thing to see, really. In the centre positions, defence positions I should say, Wisdom Ame played 23 games in the Superliga for them, 7.07 rating. He's still got another couple of years left on his deal. It's good to see that he has still played pretty well for them. Since we've bought him, he's always been a consistent performer, and even though we've left, he's been consistent as well. Looking at Buchmann, he's played 34 games in the Superliga for them, 9 in the Champions League, and, well, 20 games I should say in the Superliga, 7.07 rating. It's good to see Buchmann still around. He's got a midfield centre-back partnership, with Usman Diomande. 31 games in the Superliga for him, 7.29 rating. He's a very good player. His value has dropped dramatically though, and he is wanted by Manchester City. So when we go forward 5 years in the future, I hope they get at least a good fee for Usman Diomande. Now at left back, they're currently playing Brandt, but I can't see a left back there. There's Musa Ndiaye. He's played 36 games in total, so it would be Musa Ndiaye who's the main left back for them. They've still got a good African contingency at the back, and Sika Traore, he's a guy that we brought in. How much we pay for him? 155,000, 2 seasons in, and they are going with him. He's played the last 12 games in the Superliga. It's good to see that some of our players are still there, but the player I am most excited about is Asbjorn Jorgensen. He's playing naturally as a CDM. This guy looks absolutely fantastic. 10 games in the Champions League, 2 goals with a 7.21 rating. In the Superliga, 31 games played, 5 goals, 2 assists, 7.13 rating. 16 passing, 16 technique, 16 flair and leadership, 18 aggression, 17 anticipation. Physically, other than his jumping, he looks like an absolute unit. I'm so happy that he did come through our youth academy. He's been brilliant for us. 108 games, 11 goals, 14 assists. Although 8 goals, 13 assists if you take away the loan move to AB. Brilliant signing. So Villagra is showing here as their centre midfielder, but Iliax Mariba, how has he done? 27 games played, 4 goals, 5 assists in the Superliga, 3 assists in the Champions League. I feel like he may go for a very poor amount of money. We paid 50 million for him. Looks like he's done well. He's a quality player, so I expect him to do well as well. And Ashraf Saber, has he got game time? No, they've not played him at all. We brought him in for nearly 8 million. It's a shame that they've not played him as much, but looking at this formation, he was never going to fit into it. So looking at the other positions as well, in the team, Mohamed Kudus isn't currently in the starting team there, but he's played 25 games in the Superliga, 5 goals, 4 assists, a 6.9 rating, which isn't the best considering the season that we got out of him, with 30 games and 5 goals, 9 assists, and a 7.23 rating. Yeah, he's done alright. The team just looks like it's really underperformed this season since we have left. Onyek Boulay, however, has had a star role in their team by the looks of it. Played 27 games in the Superliga, 4 goals, 3 assists. Probably a starting centre attacking midfielder, along with Rayan Cherki. His value's dropped completely as well, considering we spent 71 million on this guy. Played 28 times in the Superliga, 7 goals, 3 assists, 6.98 rating. It's just sad to see kind of the decline of the team as it's gone forward. A couple of players as well. Abdelaziz Firi has only played 12 games overall. It's just really sad to see. Fatawu, he hasn't played at all. What are they playing at? He's on the transfer list. That's blasphemy. I don't agree with Fatawu being on the transfer list. Messe Kabide hasn't played at all. This is really sad. Evan Guzand, he hasn't played at all. He's got 3 goals in the league. And Bismarck Adoa Blessing. It's just a little bit sad, isn't it? It's just a little bit sad. If we look at the season preview, Nordsjælland were 1 to 10 odds to do it. Team of the season, or kind of the team to watch. Tim Ronning in goal, but Ndiaye, Diamande, Buchmann and Amay, Mariba and Jorgensen, Kudus, Cherky and Ado Blessing, with Lucas Asadi for FC Copenhagen. I mean, yeah, they got the domestic double, but the team looks a little bit sad. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to forward 5 years into the future from this point, just to see if they can continue the impressive run of winning consecutive Superliga titles. I mean, past winners, 5 for Nordsjælland over the last 5 seasons. We're in 8th in the coefficiency. Let's see if that can be improved upon. Now we have returned to FC Nordsjælland. The year is 2034 and we've moved on 5 more seasons since we last joined. Let's see how they've got on. Let's see if any of our players have stayed. And let's just have a look at the transfers that have come in and out as well. And if I could just pick up on one thing that I've already seen. On the FC Nordsjælland general page, this favoured personnel, icons, and Ross Roberts as a legendary manager for them. So thank you for that. Couldn't have done it without you. Now, something I never noticed before. Obviously, we are a club legend, but FC Nordsjælland now play at the Ross Roberts Park. Let's go and have a look at our own stadium. Very exciting. Now, when we first started the game save, Nordsjælland had a capacity of 10,000, which, to be fair, we hit like 99% of our capacity pretty much every season that we were there. Looking at the Ross Roberts Park, 22,760 capacity. It was built last year in homage to ourselves, obviously. Stadium condition is very good. I wouldn't expect anything less from my own standards here. Undersoil heating, yes. A roof, yes. Pitch condition is perfect. Matches wise, I mean, all sorts of competitions have been played here. Conference League. When did the Conference League come and join us? Maybe we've hosted the Conference League at some point, or the Europa League in our own stadium. Teams, obviously FC Nordsjælland is just us. Now, have we made it a fortress? So, drew 1-1 against Newcastle, 1-0 against Midtjylland, 2-0 against Sondersvik, 1-0 against Silkeborg. I mean, if we go through this, I think we've only lost a couple games here. You know, we've only lost 3 games since moving into the stadium. A 1-0 loss against Paris Saint-Germain, a 2-1 loss against Red Bull Salzburg, and a 2-1 loss against Randers FC. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the team and let's see who is still here. Looking at the key people at the club, Mohamed Diamande is the captain. He's now 32 years old. How time has flown, and he's been a great servant for the club. Let's have a look at the stats here. We left in 28-29, so for the last 5 seasons, he's been an ever-present 6 goals, 9 assists, 11 goals, 5 assists, 8 goals, 10 assists. Then he's getting a little bit older, 5 goals, 3 assists, 1 goal and 6 assists. He's been a fantastic servant for this club. And it's just about right that he probably will retire at the club. I hope he does. Let's have a look at else is in there. So David Abubakar, our first season since we resigned from FC Nordsjælland, he's come in. It looks like he's been their first choice goalkeeper, except for in the Champions League. How many games has David Abubakar played for them? Yeah, to be fair, 19 games in the league, 17 conceded. Not great. 6-5, 14-10, 5-6, and 11-9. Who else is here? There's not a lot of people. Eric Clotty, he's a youth player that we did kind of tie down to a new deal before we left. He looks like a good player. 5.8 to 17.5 million. He's played the last couple of seasons for them, so well done, Eric. It's nice to see one at our youth academy coming through here. Adriano Onyegbule is still at the club. He looks very good. He looks like a very tasty footballer. In 196 appearances for FC Nordsjælland, 68 goals have been scored. He's been a standout player for them, playing in every league game pretty much, and he hasn't dropped below a 7-0 rating, so well done Onyegbule. I think we spent 11 million on him. 12.5 million. He's had a fantastic season. A fantastic career with FC Nordsjælland as well, which is always good to see. Obviously, we've seen Mohamed Diamande, 326 appearances with 75 goals. That's fantastic. And going through, Judas Piri is there. If you remember, we signed Judas Piri at the very end, and he looks like an absolute demon. 16 dribbling, 17 finishing, 17 technique, 16 off the ball, 18 composure, and those physicals as well. 17 for acceleration, agility, fitness and pace, 16 balance. How have you done? 36 goals in 114 appearances for FC Nordsjælland. 8 this season, but 14 last season and 12 the season before. We spent 700,000 on him. That's a fantastic return on our investment. And I wonder who is kind of their best kind of young player. There is a young Iranian/Danish striker here, Sina Tahami. 17 finishing, 16 heading, 15 jumping reach, 19 determination is fantastic. Hasn't really hit the ground running, but he's only 19 years old. The future's bright with FC Nordsjælland. They've got the right to dream. I can't see Asbjørn Jorgensen. So let's go through our transfers and see where our boy's gone. So we're going to start with the league, and FC Nordsjælland have won the league again. Looking above me though, we left at 2028-2029 season. They've since won 5 straight Superliga titles, and if we look back to when we won in our 3rd season, FC Nordsjælland, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've won 3 of Superliga straight. Fantastic news. We've left the legacy of FC Nordsjælland in the Superliga. Let's have a look at the DB Pokalen, and let's see how they've been doing in the Champions League as well. Now, looking at the Sidebank Pokalen, we left on a winning season, 28-29. Since then, FC Midtjylland have won it the season after us. We won it in 30-31. Copenhagen in 31-32. Midtjylland 32-33. And then we've won it again in 33-34. We had a good run of 4 years straight that we did win the DB Pokalen. It's nice to see we are still a powerhouse in cup football as well. But now let's get onto the Champions League and let's see how they've been doing in that competition as well. So looking at the Champions League, this is the 29-30 season, year 1 of our 5-year forwarding into the future. And to be fair, they finished in the playoffs round as well. 8 games, 3 wins, and they were against 3-1 against Olympiacos, 3-0 against Red Bull Salzburg, 3-1 against Besiktas. They drew 1-1 with Monaco, and then they lost 4. Man City 1-0, Juventus 3-0, Tottenham 3-1, and Liverpool 2-0. But that's in kind of the league phase. They went into the knockout playoff round as well. And I think they've actually done well in this one. They came up against Antwerp, and it was a 4-3 aggregate victory. Very nice to see. In the round of 16, they then came up against Manchester City. 5-1 aggregate there. It's not too great. But if we go back to the league phase, and we'll go forward a season as well. In the league phase, we managed again, finished 14th, 8 games, obviously 8 games, 4 wins, a 3-0 win against Lazio, a 1-0 win against Nice, a 1-0 win against Mönchengladbach, and a 2-1 win against Tottenham Hotspur, 2 draws, AEK and Legia Warsaw. Only 2 losses this season, against Real Madrid and against Man City. Funnily enough, they're the 2 teams that we've won the Champions League final and lost the Champions League final against. So knockoff playoff rounds, we came up against Atletico Madrid and we came through this 2-1 aggregate draw. Round of 16 was where we failed. We came up against a Porto team and lost 3-1 in aggregate. That's not good to see. The season after, 31-32, so this is 3 seasons ago. Did they make it through? They are here somewhere. Finished 14th again. It seems to be a common place that we are finishing. 4 wins, 2-0 against Leverkusen, 3-0 against Fenerbahce, 2-1 against Shakhtar, and a 1-0 against Manchester City. So well done for beating Manchester City there. We had a 0-0 draw with Lyon, 3 losses, 2-1 to Tottenham, 1-0 to PSV Eindhoven, and a 4-0 as well to Liverpool. Now, I suppose if we'd have won one of those games, could we have got into normal qualification? I'm not too sure. But looking at the knockout playoff round, we came up against Juventus and lost. Bit of a disappointing campaign for that one. Now, 32-33. This is last season. In the league phase, we finished 15th this time. 3 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. We beat Maccabi Haifa 2-0, 2-1 win against Ajax, and a 2-0 win against Real Sociedad. Drew against Nice, Paris Saint-Germain, and Manchester City, all 1-1 draws. 2 losses, Shakhtar 2-1 and Porto 3-1. Again, it's just one of those. Another win, we probably could have just avoided the knockout playoff round. And we came up against FC Copenhagen, an all-Danish affair, 3-1 aggregate in the knockout playoff round. Into the round of 16, came up against Real Madrid, and unfortunately we lost 3-1 in aggregate there. And then this current season, Barcelona have won the Champions League, which means we haven't. We finished 23rd, 3 wins, Maccabi Haifa a 3-0 win, 2-0 win against Juventus, and a 3-0 win against PSV Eindhoven. We drew 1-1 with Borussia Dortmund, but 4 losses, 2-1 to Marseille, 1-0 to Paris Saint-Germain, 3-1 to Ajax, and 2-1 to Arsenal. It's not looking good. If we go into a knockout playoff phase, we came up against Sporting CP, a 3-1 aggregate win there. Into the round of 16, came up against Paris Saint-Germain with a 5-1 aggregate. It's not great to see. However, let's have a look at the squad. Let's see if any of our players are still there, and then we'll have a look at the transfers after. So we're going to start in the first year of the 5 years since we left. There's a massive number here, 210 million in sales, with 29 million incoming, and 22 million that was on Pascal Struijk. Cool. Cool. He's still at FC Nordsjælland, but he's out on loan at Hoffenheim. I mean, how did he play since joining FC Nordsjælland? 27 million spent. To be fair to him, he's got a good ratings here, at least a 7.0. In his last season, which is probably this season, he has gone out on loan, but maybe it was a good return for the club. And Michael Braun for 6.25 million, he looks very good, and he's no longer at the club. That's how good he was. He went to FC Nordsjælland for 6 million, a couple of decent seasons, final flourish, another 7.14 season. But Real Madrid then spent 22.5 million on him, and this guy's worth 30 to 89 million, and he's up for a 57 million pound transfer from Chelsea. Now, if you look at the sales that have happened, as I said, 210 million in sales. Who have we got here? Mohamed Kudus went to Barcelona for 35 to 44 million. He's only worth 12 million now. How did he do? So, when being at Nordsjælland, 71 games played, 15 goals scored. Moved to Barcelona for 44 million in total. And you know what? He's had a very good season. He looks like he's been an ever-present for the La Liga team. And he hasn't had a rating below 7.0, which is all you can ask for, really, on Football Manager. Your players to consistently play well, and Mohamed Kudus looks like a good signing for Barcelona at 44 million. Now, this one's a weird one looking at it. Rayan Cherki, we bought him for 70 million, and he's been sold for 30 million to Liverpool. That's very sad. 77 games for us, 23 goals. Moved to Liverpool, 123 games, 32 goals, 30 million in the Premier League. Again, he's absolutely smashed it. First season, 7 goals, 5 assists. Second season, 6 and 6. Then 8 goals, 3 assists in his third season. And in the season just gone, 11 goals, 4 assists. He's not got below a 7.1 rating, with the last 3 seasons averaging out at roughly around about 7.4. What a fantastic signing for Liverpool. Couldn't do it for Nordsjælland, but sometimes you have to sell your players. Bismarck, a double blessing, went to Chelsea for 24.5 million. It's just sad. It's just really sad. He's scored 3 goals in 21 appearances since joining Chelsea. That's very poor. 36 goals in 97 for us. It's about a 1 in 3 ratio. Somebody joined for 26 million. 2 goals scored in 10. They've absolutely wasted him. What an absolute waste of a talent this is. Looking at his scoring record for Ghana, however, 57 goals in 67 caps. That's fantastic news. Iliax Mariba and Wisma May both went to Inter Milan for a combined 43 million. No idea what's been going on. So May, he did well for us. He's played 45 times over his time at Inter Milan. It's just very poor. What have they done to our players? I've just seen Jorgensen. I've just seen Jorgensen's name. However, Iliax Mariba is not for sale at any price for Inter Milan. He looks like he's had a good career since moving there. 24 million is an absolute steal. He hasn't had a rating below 7.4. He scored a lot of goals as well for Inter Milan. What has he got? 39 goals in 170 appearances. It's about 1 in 6, 1 in 5, 1 in 3.5, 1 in 3. No, 1 in 4. He's done very well. He's done very well. Asbjørn Jorgensen, we'll get to you later. Who else have they got rid of here? I mean, Nagala went for 9 million. Obviously, he went out on loan. Evan Guzan went for 16 million. He's moved on quite a bit as well. 9 goals in 22, but when he went to Everton, 49 in 144. I mean, he has moved into the Premier League again. Yeah, he wasn't our best signing. We just tried to replace Chermiti, and it never worked. I can't wait to get to Chermiti's stats. Tariq Buchman went to Dortmund for 21 million. I mean, he's just a great player. Absolutely fantastic player. 120 appearances for FC Nordsjælland. He's then gone to Dortmund. You know what? He's had 2 good seasons when he started there, and he's kind of fallen off a little bit. Maybe it's his age, but 48 appearances for Germany. You're not a bad player if you manage to get that many appearances. Usman Diomande, we spent big on this guy when we bought him. 54 million. He was a stalwart for us at the back. Arsenal paid 21.5 million. To be fair, he's had a fantastic career in the Premier League. 31 games, 35, 30 and 35. An average rating roughly of around about 7.16. Can't moan at that. He's valued at 90 to 270 million. I really enjoyed Usman Diomande. He's one of the reasons why we won the Champions League. And just looking down, Asbjørn Jorgensen. I don't want to click on it. I mean, Noah Atulabolu went on a free. God, they just enjoy wasting my money here. Anyway, Asbjørn Jorgensen, let's see how good he is. He's on 500,000 a week. Information, spirited. Favoured personnel is myself. I wouldn't expect any more, to be honest. 57 caps for Denmark, 4 goals in that time. He's valued at 63 to 190 million. Played 94 games for Nordsjælland. He's played 148 for Atletico Madrid. Should have stayed with us. Should have stayed with us. But 500,000 a week. Are they crazy? His stats look absolutely immense as well. Physicals, 16s across the board, at least 14 strength, 10 jumping reach, but 18 fitness. An absolute tank of a human, as Bjorn Jorgensen, probably one of my favourite regens that I've played and I've managed, and the fact that he came through our academy just says it all, really. Fantastic stuff. That was just year 1. Year 2, I'm a little bit scared because a lot of our players have gone. 30 million in the outs. Meseg Kabede went for 9.5 million. He's moved on again since then as well. He's played 2 games for Denmark. I mean, when we had him, he scored 9 in 41 games. To be fair, for Red Bull Salzburg, 17 in 44. 9.5 million. They made a profit at least on who we had. He hasn't played that well though, has he? He hasn't played too well. Mbaye Ndoye, that's annoying. We gave him to you and you've just given him away. Forget about that. They're kind of the Sika Traore. We signed him and now he's at Midtjylland. 2.3 million was made. We bought him for 155k. He hasn't really hit it off, but it's not our problem there. Who have they brought in? Who's their big money signing that they brought in? Timothy Weah. How did he do? He scored 1 goal in 17 games. He spent 30 minutes. Football Manager transfers. They are very peculiar. Amadou Diop, however, Paris Saint-Germain. I think we looked at him earlier on our shortlist as a left winger. Is it Legones? Legrones. I mean, we eventually got him. It's nice to see that they are kind of completing and competing signings for African players, which is what the main game save was all about. We got Rico Lewis on a loan and Magnus Bumholt. You know, he actually looks very good. How much they spend on him? 1.3 million. 16 games in his first season. Where does he play? Are they playing him as an attacking midfielder? You know what? That's not bad at all. If you compare him to Ryan Cherky. I mean, the kid's 21. You know what? If you sell Cherky, he looks fantastic. Magnus Bumholt. Sorry, not Bumholt. I mean, mentally, fantastic. As an attacking midfielder, 17 technique, 18 passing, 16 first touch, 18 anticipation, good stamina, agility and balance as well. 5'9", yes, he's mini, but my God, what a fantastic signing that is. One I would have missed out on because of only signing African nationality players. Midfield orchestrator. Love that. Absolutely love that. Anyone else? No. Matheus Luengo? No one there. What about the next season? So this is 3 seasons ago now. 88 million transfers out. 47.5 million in. If you have a look, Jonas Holmgaard, 9 million from Bromby. I mean, it's not really £9 million worth of player. 10 goals in 44 games. Yeah, it's a bit of a waste there. Cucurella, who's George Chan? No one. I didn't see him. Jorge Luna has now gone to Manchester United. Northland paid 29 million for him. Had him for 2 seasons, didn't do a lot. Moved on for 38.5 million. And Andre Lucas of Sao Paulo, he is still at Northland. Centre back, it's fine. 9 million, probably not well spent. But 88 million in transfer fees out. Who's the biggest signing here? Ashraf Saber. Remember him? Spent 7 million on him. He's now 25. He looks fantastic. He expires in 19 days. 140,000 a week. What a cracking player. They didn't play him at all. Always the way. Our good guys have gone. Jakob Christensen finally left us. He wanted to leave for a long time when he was with us here. And obviously Braun went to Real Madrid for 22 million. Musa Salima, I think, is he the guy I brought in when I left? He is. 16 million they spent on him. He must have turned into a pretty decent player. And he has turned into a pretty decent player. Valued at 103 to 308 million. Craziness. 140,000 a week. Mozambican. To be fair, is he like an elite centre-back? He looks fantastic. Star player for his country. Yeah. He looks fantastic. 6'4", 16 jumping reach. God, if we'd have stayed with this game save, I definitely think we could have got another Champions League win over the seasons, but it just felt like it was time to say goodbye. Odinaka Okafor? Nah, he didn't make it, did he? Right. Last season's then, 35 million spent, 80 million out. Now, from what I can see here, Nordsjælland, they're just making their money back. Like they must be so rich as a club. They spent 20 million on Ivan, who's now moved on to Liverpool. 20 million spent. He had 2 seasons with us. Clearly didn't do very well, but however, moved for 37.5 million. At left back, good left back. Yeah, it's crazy what they've done here. Lucas Newby. Nah, it's not great. Morten Hjulmand, 2.9 million. Where's the regens? Where are our regens? Thomas Retamal. I mean, it's a little bit better, but he's already gone to Dortmund. It's a little underwhelming on the transfers in, although, who's this? Salis Abdul Samed. Nah, it's just disappointing. 80 million on the out. Jorge Luna. Bjorn Pilgaard, 23.5. Another guy that came through our youth academy, and he looks absolutely fantastic. Came through our academy, 30 million spent. Look at the physicals there. Where do they play him? He's got to be a CDM. Surely a CDM. Ball-winning midfielder. What a crazy sight. The players that have come from our youth academy is absolutely insane. Mikel Bier, who's this guy? He came through our academy as well. I mean, he's fast. That's pretty much all he's got. Right, into this season just gone. 62 million was made. Ivan went off. Ahmed Forna, who are you? You came for our youth academy. You did. How are you looking? How much did they spend on you? 16 million, which is a fair amount. I mean, he can pretty much play everywhere on the pitch. Yeah, not too sure what to make of this one here. So, Retamal, he left and went to Dortmund. Festim Luanglu, he came for our youth academy as well. Although he's got a bad injury. I mean, it's just crazy to see this. Who have they brought in the stead? Right, Guilherme Toda. Yep, looks fine. Vanja Vlahovic. Juan Martin Sancho. I mean, so you got all the young wonder kids coming in now. Florentino Luis. 40k is a bit of money. Byron Rojas. And Fabinho Parisi. That's a lot of money to spend on a 33-year-old. 13 million. Anyway, let's just have a look and see who the best team in the world is. And we may just wrap the video up there. Now, just looking through the Next Gen Awards, just to see who the best wonder kids are in the game. So, the season that we left, Ananda Pribadi. He's at Tottenham. Yeah, it looks very good. How much did he go for? He left on a free from Groningen to Tottenham Hotspur. What a cracking signing that is. 140,000 a week. 50 and 145 million in valuation. Very good. Who came second place? Juan Angel Tristan. Again at Tottenham. Okay, Tottenham just hoovering up talent here. David Osvaldo Ray. No, he plays for Lille. It's not too bad, is he? Not too bad at all. And then Deportivo Guadalajara. Clearly have some good players here. Angel Fernandez. He's now at Dortmund. 20 million spent. he's had a very good season. Look as he's going on. Good career actually at Dortmund as well. 116 games played, 26 goals. That 90 determination, 18 actual fitness, 18 technique, 17 first touch. Yeah, he seems ripe to be maybe as a cam or a right attacking midfielder. And then this guy, Rivaldo Rodriguez, he won 2 in a row. Was only bought this season from for Dortmund. Again, they're hoovering up the talent as well. Yeah, maybe Mexico are the team to watch going forward. Mustafa Ozalp, he's still at Antalyaspor. Yeah, he's not that great. I wonder why he's won that. He would have been like 17 when he won that award, however, though. Jose Daniel Gonzalez. I want to look at Philip Dolling, though, because that hair is fantastic. Even with Jose Daniel Gonzalez, it's nothing that stands out. Not sure why they've won this, but let's have a look. Philip Dolling, because your hair is brilliant. Plays for FC Bayern, 37 to 111 million. Only just bought this season for 64 million. I'm a little bit disappointed. Anyone else disappointed with this? Probably talking to myself, but a little bit disappointed. Sorin Krisan for Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, he's good. 2.3 million was spent from University of Cluj. To be fair, it's valued at 67 to 202 million. He's on 93,000 a week. He looks pretty good. He looks pretty good. He's only 19 years old. As a right back, probably CDM. I'll probably play more of it to CDM if I could. But they're the kind of the generation of wonder kids. Let's see who's won the best footballer in the world. Now, if you look at the game save from when we started, the Ballon d'Or has been won by Mbappe and Haaland. Taking it in turns in some cases, but coming into the last 2 seasons, last season was Jeremy Pino, would have been 30 years old as he's done it. I mean, a 7.89 rating over the whole season is fantastic, and a 7.71 and a 7.79. I mean, it's a one-man club here looking at this, although Las Palmas, at the very start of his career, Jeremy Pino, clearly one to buy in Football Manager. What a fantastic signing. What a fantastic player. And Wilfred Gnonto as well. He's 30 in game at the minute. He's on 600,000 a week. 600,000 a week? Real Madrid spent 101 million on him. And to be fair, I think they've got their money's worth from Wilfred Gnonto. Looking at who else was there, Mbappe was second, Vinicius Jr. was third. Last season, Mbappe was second. How is Mbappe looking on this game? 35 years old. I mean, he would walk into any team on the planet at 35, which makes me think, how is Haaland looking? But if you see here, 488 games, 357 goals. Where is Haaland? Where is Haaland? Here's Haaland. He hasn't done that great. I mean, sorry to say it, he hasn't done that good of a job at Man City. 384 games, 245 goals. Yeah. A little underwhelming. But let's have a look at the World Cups and the European competitions and see who's won what. So looking at the World Cup, there's been 3 in this game save so far. France, obviously, well, I suppose there's been 2, I suppose. Portugal won it in 2026 and then Italy won it in 2030. Have a look at some more kind of competitions for the world. If it will show us here. Hello world. World Cup playoffs, we don't really want that. Do we want that? Olympics, do we care? I don't think we care about the Olympics. Where's the Euros? Here we go. Past winners of the Euros. So England won it in 2024. That's good to see. Italy won it in 2028. And then France have won it in 2032. I mean, there is a World Cup season this season. I think we've done all right. I think looking at FC Northlands, they've continued to win the Superliga every season going. We haven't kind of made it. We haven't made it anywhere in Europe, but you know, we've left our legacy. We are a club legend for FC Nordsjælland. Trying to find back. You know, we've got Ross Roberts Park as well. Lovely to see. It's been a fantastic game series. I've absolutely loved it. Time for the next project, however. I will see you in the very near future. If you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Sore Loser.